It doesn't look very good. So, although it looks really horrible, I know it's healing because it's not. I don't feel. Yesterday, I felt like a pulse here, boom, 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 boom. But now it's okay. It still looks terrible. But what can you do? It will go away in a few days' time. Going to the store is horrible. It clears after, say, well, it's clearing now, but for it to completely go away, it'll take probably 4 days or something like that. So I'm really run down. That's why I have this. Some people call them cold sores. I assume they call them this name, seeing as people used to get them when they were run down. And this does make sense. In the next clip, I'm talking about an infection on my nose, but I actually forgot that I've suffered from these attacks before. But because they seldomly happen, I just didn't add up the dots. So tired, I've got something on my nose now. It's all red, like an infection here. I touch it and it's so hot. Ooh, like an ache here. Anyway, as you can see, look at me. I'm exhausted, totally exhausted. This thing on my nose is... How did I get that? I think this is the stress. My immune system has almost not packed up, but you know, when you feel run down, these kind of things happen. Now, in the next clip, you'll see is quite. I'll warn you, is quite graphic. There's a GoPro video that I did, and it distorts my face because it's quite close to my nose. But this video I did when I came back, and I had to completely rearrange the house, take everything out of the house, you know, because I was getting ready to move. It was so stressful, unbelievably stressful. So on top of the journey that I had to make, many journeys I had to make to find a house, traveling hundreds of miles, definitely hundreds of miles, and moving from one bed and breakfast, one hotel to another, and then coming back home, dealing with my father. I had to find a nursing home for him, and he didn't want to go. Lots of problems. And then also taking everything out of the house, throwing things away, putting things into storage. It was unbelievably stressful. And this is what happened to me. This is what an herpes outbreak looks like, or an attack. It's horrible. Now my nose is swollen, and the area where the pus came out is encrusted, so it's healing. My immune system is healing it. It wasn't exactly pus, it was a liquid, like water with a yellow tint, a slight tint. And I think this came about because I was really stressed out, and maybe I had too many nuts. And nuts have pistachio nuts, and I think they're high in arginine, or it's an amino acid that you shouldn't eat too much of. You shouldn't ingest too much, otherwise it can cause an attack or an outbreak. And this happened once, I think twice in China and once here. It seldom happens. It's happened maybe in 5 years, happened maybe just the once. The once here in England and twice in China. So maybe 3 times. It's horrible. It looks horrible. And, you know, I have to hide myself for a few days. Okay, this is what I read online about herpes. Cold sores are painful blisters that usually occur on the lips but can develop anywhere from the lips to the nostrils. These sores, technically known as herpes labialis, are caused by the herpes simplex virus type 1. Although the virus continually exists in an affected person's body, cold sores can be triggered by sunlight, stress, fatigue, or illness. Some people have frequent outbreaks. The amino acid L-arginine is thought to be one factor in cold sore occurrence. Yes, definitely. I agree with that. But also stress. When my immune system is down, definitely, it makes me weaker, it makes me more susceptible to them. But in the past, I've had to have a few of these factors all come together in order for me to have an outbreak. So if you're really stressed out, that won't do it. But with me, if I'm really stressed out, I mean, unbelievably stressed out, and I eat lots of high arginine foods, then that does the trick. That gives me one of these attacks. So anyway, how do you get rid of this herpes? You don't. Apparently, you can't cure it. It just stays with you like luggage. It lays dormant and hides in the spine area and wakes up when your immune system is down or when you eat high arginine foods. Now, arginine is an amino acid and is found in higher amounts in chocolate. When I have chocolate, if I have too many chocolates, too many nuts, then that's it. I get it. If I'm stressed out as well, it takes a few. I need to get a few hits before it actually can wake up and then present itself. So chocolate, nuts, coconut, and I did read that online: turkey breast, pork loin, chicken breast, pumpkin seeds, chickpeas as well, soybeans, dairy products, and lentils. So that's strange because some websites say that dairy products help you, give you a high dose of lysine. So I'm not sure about which dairy products they're talking about. Lentils as well. That's strange. Yeah, because I like lentils. So, you have to avoid those as well once you have an outbreak. So you should avoid these foods or minimize them during an outbreak of herpes. Now, this is what some of the sources say online. Others say to eat dairy, and others say not to eat dairy. It's all in the ratio, the lysine to arginine ratio. Seeing as most foods will contain both arginine and lysine, so you should try and find foods that have a low amount of arginine and a high amount of lysine. The ideal foods are those that have, as I said, a good lysine-arginine ratio. According to the USDA, the nutrient ratio tool, some of the foods highest in lysine and lowest in arginines are starfruit, yogurt, milk, cheese, cauliflower, and papaya. These are all the vegetarian kind of foods. But you do get them. You get high lysine and low arginine levels in turkey wings, pork chops, tuna fish, and shrimp, soybeans, and other soy foods. Certain nuts and seeds, but I would avoid nuts and seeds completely. Eggs and beans as well are supposed to be good. So those are the kind of foods that you should be eating, and definitely avoid chocolate, nuts, coconut, those kind of things. The turkey breast, chicken breast, but the turkey wings are okay. The turkey breast is not okay. So various parts of the turkey, for example, you have the ratio is completely different. The arginine to lysine ratio is different. So, you have to look into it. But the ones I looked online and they said, they advise you to eat starfruit, yogurt, milk, cheese, cauliflower, papaya, turkey wings, pork chops, tuna fish and shrimp, soybeans and other soy foods, and eggs and beans. So, just eat high lysine foods and low arginine foods. And, avoid stress, calm down your stress. And sometimes people get it from sunlight as well, but that hasn't been the case with me. So the way to, get rid of it is, you can't get rid of it, but you can, once you have a herpes attack, then it could last 1 or 2 weeks, but you can experiment with yourself by cutting down the time it takes for you to heal. So if you stop all those foods, if you start to eat the correct foods, relax, and usually it takes me, when I feel it coming, I just go into my herpes healing protocol or plan, and within 3 days, 3 days to maximum 5 days, it's over, I'm normal again. But if I didn't do that, if I ate the wrong foods, if I was still stressed out, it would last maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So, it does make a massive difference in my case anyway. And, long term, do I avoid all those foods? No, I don't. I eat chocolate, I eat all those kind of foods. And as long as your lysine uptake, intake is reasonably high, as long as you eat some eggs, you eat some beans, you eat some cauliflower, then everything kind of, levels out. It's just that when you do, I forget about it because it's not something that it is with you all the time, but it's dormant, so you don't know. And so I forget. And so one day I might eat too much chocolate, too much nuts, and not enough high arginine foods. If I go on a vegan diet, for example, I don't eat any eggs, no turkey wings or pork chops or anything like that. And then if I start eating nuts, coconut, chocolate, then bang, I'll get it. And I have stress, bang, I'll get it. So it's just something that you have to be aware of all the time. You could be in a situation where you can avoid it. I had it for 5 years. I had no recurrence, no attacks, because I took vitamins, I relaxed, I ate the right foods, and nothing happened. But the thing is, after 5 years, you forget that you've got it. And so, you become complacent, and then you think, there's nothing wrong. I'll eat some chocolate, I'll have a few nuts, I'll go on a vegan diet, I don't need any eggs. And you have a certain amount of stress, maybe sunlight, whatever, and then bang, you'll get it. So, yeah, this is my little story about herpes. I know it's disgusting, and I'm sorry I had to show my nose, but I don't really care about myself. I just, if any of you guys have this herpes, then, don't feel ashamed about it. It's not your fault, really. It's just something, it's an invisible enemy that's come into your body, and, you have to, deal with it, And nowadays, with us wearing masks, because of this coronavirus, this COVID-19, even if I did get it on my nose, I would put the mask on and you can't see it anyway. Yeah, the weather in England is always like this. You wait for the summer and you think, oh wow, you get a few days of sun and you think, wonderful, but then it pours down, it rains really heavy, So the weather gets its own back. It says, okay, you've had a nice time for a few days, a week maybe, and then bang, the clouds open up, the skies open up, and we have lots of rain. I don't mind the rain, it's just the grey clouds that I don't like. And I tend to suffer from S.A.D, or something called seasonally adjusted disorder, or seasonally affective disorder, or something like that. Basically, it means that when it's cloudy, you feel more depressed. You know, I was explaining this to my wife, and she said, yeah, well, everybody feels depressed when it's cloudy. I said, no, your kind of depression and my kind of depression is different. And I explained to her why. Because my kind of depression, I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to pick up my son. I don't want to do any work. I don't want to get out of bed. And I said, with your kind of depression, yeah, you feel a bit down because, or unhappy, but you don't really feel depressed. It doesn't really affect your mood deeply. Whereas with me, it deeply affects my mood, because I think not enough serotonin maybe is being produced in the brain, because I think the sunlight or UV rays, you know, get into your eye and into your brain, stimulate the production of serotonin in the brain, and that's the happy chemical, the calming neurotransmitter that makes you feel happy. And the people who have depression or are susceptible to depression and anxiety like I am, we have less serotonin circulating around in the brain, or at least have some kind of problem with serotonin. Very low levels, I would say. And so this is why the SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, work, because they shut down the reabsorption or reuptake of serotonin into the body, and there's more circulating serotonin in the brain. But the thing is, I've reduced my medication, my SSRI, to only, which is called Paxil in America and Seroxat in the UK. I've reduced it to a bare minimum of only 5 milligrams. So if it's sunny, I feel okay. I can get by. There's no problem, because I have the bare minimum of serotonin. But when it's gloomy, maybe for one day I can take it, but after 2-3 days not seeing the sun, it really affects me mentally. I don't feel motivated. I feel down and depressed. You know, a real, like a black cloud comes over my head, my brain, you know, and I really feel down. I really feel a difference. You know, I explained this to my wife so many times. She said, you know, I think finally she understands after years of explaining to her, because she said, oh, you know, I feel depressed too. I said, no, you don't feel depressed. There's depression and there's depression. You know, somebody might say, oh, my team lost, you know, I feel so depressed. That's not depression. That's unhappiness, you know, in the moment. It's not a deep depression where you feel that life is meaningless, that there's no point carrying on, you know, that kind of deep depression. And that's how I feel after a few days of grey and no sun. So that's why I have to contemplate moving to a more sunnier climate, because, you know, my genetics are from a, you know, my ancestors are from a sunny place. My parents are Italian, and I remember I used to go to Sicily, and, you know, it's not reasonably, but very hot. Very, very hot. About 40, 45 degrees it reaches, and some say even more. But I think the record was measured at 48 degrees, I think, in Athens in Greece. I'm not sure if it was the 1970s, you know, for Europe. Well, anyway, Sicily is very hot. But then when I found out about my adoption, I found out that my father was Spanish and my mum was from Chile. So I definitely come from, you know, hot countries and countries where the sun shines. So, you know, I think over generations and, you know, my ancestors were used to a sunny climate. So my very DNA or genetics is, I think, suffers when I stay in a place that's too, you know, rains all the time or is too grey. So I think I really need to see the sun. But at the same time, I grew up in England and I got used to the temperature. The temperature here is, say, I don't know, it's very temperate climate. You don't get the extremes of heat and the extremes of cold that you get in China. You know, there the weather is extreme. The temperatures are extreme, I mean. So moving to somewhere like Spain would be unbelievably hot in the summer. So would Chile or South America. Parts of China are unbelievably hot as well. So I'd have to find a climate that is sunny and not too hot. So I'm not sure. But the thing is, you know, in the UK you have the NHS, the National Health Service, and you know, if you're sick or you need medication, they help. If I go to another country, maybe, you know, I can get medication, you know, I can get the Paxil and the Prilosec, but you have to pay for it. So yeah, that's what kind of stops me. I mean, if I can work online on the internet, if I can have you know, create a website and make money from the website, or from a YouTube channel, then that would be okay. I wouldn't need to stay in the UK or any other country. You know, I would be free to move around, and that's what I would like to do. I'd love to go to Japan and of course China, maybe Russia, but yeah, also travel around Europe and within the United Kingdom itself, you know, England, Wales, Scotland. You know, I'd love to travel around and see various small villages. Yeah, that would be nice, because I have driven around England, but mostly through the small villages. I'd like to stop there and just go out for a walk. You know, sometimes I get so fed up of driving. It's stressful because you never actually stop, you know. So I would like to actually stop and walk through these villages. So hopefully I can do that, and I can do some videos about that. Okay.
Bye. See you next time. Please subscribe. Bye.